It started with a single click, one that changed how the world buys, sells, and even thinks. Amazon was supposed to be a symbol of innovation, convenience, and human progress. But behind the glowing Add to Cart button lies a story most people were never meant to know. This is not just about a company. It's about an empire built on data, control, and a relentless hunger for dominance. It's about a man who saw the future not as a destination, but as something to own. Jeff Bezos, the world's richest man, didn't just build an online store. He built a machine, one that watches, predicts, and manipulates millions of lives every single day. What if the company that promised to make life easier was silently rewriting the rules of capitalism? What if every purchase, every search, every word you speak to Alexa wasn't just convenience, but surveillance? Welcome to the story Amazon never wanted you to hear. The secrets Amazon never told. Jeff Bezos' dark strategies. Chapter 1. The birth of an empire. From garage to global control. The story begins in the summer of 1994. Seattle was grey, damp, and humming with the quiet energy of a city at the edge of the digital frontier. In a rented suburban garage, a former Wall Street analyst sat at a small desk covered with printouts and diagrams. His name was Jeffrey Preston Bezos. On those pages were projections of something few had yet imagined: the commercial potential of the Internet. At the time, fewer than 1% of Americans were online. But Bezos had seen a chart that changed everything. Internet usage was growing at 2,000% a year. To him, it wasn't just a number, it was destiny. He quit his secure job at D.E. Shaw, packed his car, and drove west with a laptop, a business plan, and a dream that would soon rewire the world. The garage myth, the story of Amazon's humble beginning, has been told countless times. A young visionary building a company from nothing, powered only by determination. But every myth hides a deeper truth. The garage was never just a workplace. It was a laboratory for control. From the start, Bezos documented every process, every pattern, every failure. Efficiency was not a goal, it was an obsession. He named the company Cadabra at first, until a lawyer misheard it as cadaver. The name changed to Amazon, chosen because it began with A, perfect for alphabetical listings, and because it evoked the image of the world's largest river. Even the name was strategic, a signal of endless reach. In July 1995, Amazon.com went live. Its first mission seemed simple: sell books online. Books were ideal, standardized, easy to ship, and plentiful. Yet Bezos wasn't dreaming of bookstores. Books were merely the opening move in a much larger game, a test to map human buying behavior. The first data revolution. Within weeks, Amazon was tracking not just what customers bought, but how they bought, how long they lingered on a page, what titles they compared, what times they logged in. Every click was recorded. The site's recommendation engine, introduced shortly afterward, became one of the earliest examples of data-driven personalization. While competitors saw a bookstore, Bezos saw an information system. He realized that data could predict desire. The more Amazon learned, the more it could shape what people wanted next. What looked like convenience was, from the very beginning, a subtle form of behavioral engineering. The numbers told the story. In its first month, Amazon sold books to customers in all 50 US states and 45 countries. But behind those numbers was a new kind of power, the power of insight. Bezos once said, "We don't make money when we sell things. We make money when we help customers make decisions." It sounded benevolent. In practice, it meant Amazon's real product was information about people. Culture of relentlessness. Early employees describe Amazon's first office as both exhilarating and punishing. Days stretched into nights, weekends dissolved into workdays. Bezos hung a sign on the wall that read, "Work hard, have fun, make history." But under the glow of fluorescent lights, the culture was closer to a controlled experiment in productivity. Mistakes were documented, inefficiencies analyzed. Employees were urged to argue, challenge, and disagree and commit. Bezos enforced a principle he called customer obsession, but it also meant relentless internal pressure. Every decision, no matter how small, had to serve the long-term vision, to dominate. By 1997, when Amazon went public, that vision was already expanding beyond books. Bezos described Amazon not as a retailer, but as a technology company that happens to sell things online. Investors didn't fully understand what that meant, but they didn't need to. The numbers were intoxicating. Sales reached $148 million that year, triple the previous one. The marketplace masterstroke. The next turning point came in 2000 with the launch of Amazon Marketplace, a decision that would redefine global commerce. Allowing third-party sellers to list products seemed generous, almost utopian. But behind it lay a master plan. Every independent seller who joined brought more data. More data meant better algorithms. Better algorithms meant more control over what customers saw. Within a few years, Amazon wasn't just hosting a marketplace, it was running the market itself. The company could see which products sold best, then quietly launch its own versions under private labels. Sellers became both partners and competitors in a game where Amazon always held the advantage. Critics later called this strategy data cannibalization. Amazon called it innovation. The line between the two was thin. Warehouses of the future. While algorithms conquered cyberspace, Amazon's physical empire spread across the map. Fulfillment. Centers, massive, windowless structures, rose on the outskirts of cities. Inside, fleets of workers and later, robots orchestrated a symphony of logistics. Packages moved in silence along conveyor belts, scanned and sorted with mathematical precision. The media celebrated this efficiency. Few saw what it cost. Reports from inside described grueling hours, timed bathroom breaks, and heat so intense that ambulances waited outside during summer shifts. Yet for Bezos, every challenge was a data problem. Sensors, tracking systems, and AI tools were deployed to squeeze seconds from every movement. The warehouses were not just distribution centers, they were testing grounds for automation. Each scan, each motion, each human gesture was measured and fed into algorithms that would one day make the human role obsolete. The global vision. By 2010, Amazon had become more than an online store. It was the backbone of the internet economy. Its web hosting arm, Amazon Web Services, AWS, powered everything from Netflix to government databases. What began as a side project to handle Amazon's own data became one of the most profitable cloud infrastructures on Earth. Few customers realized that every time they streamed a movie, ordered food online, or used a mobile app, they were likely touching Amazon's invisible infrastructure. The company wasn't just selling products anymore, it was quietly owning the digital pathways of modern life. Bezos's vision of total integration was nearly complete, a system where Amazon controlled the flow of goods, the flow of information, and increasingly, the flow of capital. The turning point success brought scrutiny. Journalists began to ask questions about labor conditions, tax strategies, and anti-competitive practices. Lawmakers wondered if Amazon had become too powerful, but each challenge seemed only to strengthen Bezos's resolve. When a newspaper exposed harsh working conditions, Amazon responded with speed and data. They published internal metrics emphasizing customer satisfaction and delivery efficiency. Facts became weapons, transparency became a form of control. Meanwhile, Bezos began investing in ventures that stretched beyond commerce, space exploration, artificial intelligence, and media ownership. To him, diversification wasn't just business, it was insurance. If one empire fell, another would rise. From customer service to surveillance, in 2014, Amazon unveiled the Echo and its voice assistant, Alexa. Marketed as a household convenience, it represented a new phase of Amazon's evolution, the transition from marketplace to omnipresent observer. The company was no longer waiting for customers to act. It was listening, learning, anticipating. Each voice command, each search, each product suggestion became another data point in Amazon's expanding network of influence. Privacy advocates warned that such intimacy with technology carried risks, but by then, Amazon had achieved something extraordinary. It had turned surveillance into comfort. Conclusion. The invisible empire. By the late 2010s, Amazon was no longer simply a company. It was an infrastructure of daily life, woven into shopping, streaming, logistics, and cloud computing. Its reach extended so deeply that avoiding it had become nearly impossible. From a modest garage in Seattle, Jeff Bezos had built an empire governed by data, efficiency, and control, a system that reshaped how humanity consumes, works, and even dreams. The story of Amazon's rise wasn't just a tale of success. It was the birth of a new kind of power, quiet, algorithmic, and omnipresent. And yet this was only the beginning, because as the empire grew, so did the questions. How far would it go? How much did it truly know? And at what cost would the world continue to click buy now? Chapter 2. The Data Dominion. How Amazon Turned Information into Power. The more Amazon grew, the less it resembled a retailer. By the early 2000s, it had become something far more complex, a company that didn't just sell products, but patterns. It wasn't only about what people bought. It was about why they bought, when they bought, and what they might buy next. From the outside, the company looked like an efficient delivery machine. But inside, Amazon was quietly building one of the largest behavioral databases in human history. Every search, click, and purchase was a clue, a piece of a vast digital puzzle that revealed who we are. The algorithmic brain, Amazon's recommendation engine, was one of its earliest and most powerful inventions. Customers who bought this item also bought a simple phrase that changed how people shopped. It seemed harmless, even helpful. Yet beneath that line lived millions of lines of code designed to anticipate human behavior. By analyzing browsing patterns and purchase histories, Amazon could predict what you might want before you knew it yourself. And the more people shopped, the smarter the system became. What began as convenience evolved into persuasion. Products didn't just appear, they found you. The result was astonishing. According to company estimates, more than a third of all sales on Amazon were generated by recommendation algorithms. The system wasn't just reacting to customer demand, it was quietly creating it. The rise of predictive commerce. In 2013, Amazon filed a patent for something it called anticipatory shipping. The idea was simple but revolutionary, using data to predict what customers would buy before they even placed an order, then pre-shipping products to nearby distribution centers to shorten delivery time. It sounded like science fiction. Packages moving toward you before you'd even clicked buy now, but it illustrated a deeper truth about Amazon's ambitions. The company wasn't satisfied with serving consumer needs. It wanted to own them, to erase the gap between desire and fulfillment entirely. Behind this innovation lay an enormous reservoir of information. Every keystroke, every wishlist addition, every abandoned cart contributed to an ever-growing behavioral model. Amazon didn't just study markets, it studied minds. AWS, the hidden empire. While the world was distracted by the retail revolution, another empire was quietly forming beneath it, Amazon Web Services, AWS. Originally built to handle Amazon's own traffic, AWS launched publicly in 2006, offering businesses access to cloud computing, storage, processing power, and infrastructure on demand. What began as a technical side project soon became the backbone of the modern internet. Today, AWS hosts millions of websites and platforms, from Netflix and Airbnb to NASA and parts of the US government. For most users, this infrastructure is invisible. But every click, stream, and digital interaction often passes through Amazon's servers. In a sense, Amazon doesn't just sell through the internet, it is the internet. The company that once delivered books now delivers data. Securely, profitably, and pervasively. Through AWS, Amazon gained an unprecedented advantage, a front-row seat to the digital heartbeat of the modern world. It could see traffic patterns, software usage trends, and technological shifts in real time. Publicly, AWS operates under strict data privacy agreements. But its scale alone gave Amazon something more valuable than market share: foresight. The age of Alexa. When Amazon unveiled the Echo in 2014, it marketed the device as a smart assistant, a friendly voice ready to play music, answer questions, or control your home. But Alexa's true innovation wasn't her voice. It was her ears. Every interaction, from setting a timer to asking about the weather, trained Alexa's artificial intelligence to better understand language and intent. Each request helped Amazon refine its understanding of not just what people say, but how they live. The ecosystem expanded rapidly. Alexa-enabled speakers, cameras, doorbells, and thermostats filled homes across the world. Amazon wasn't just a platform you visited anymore. It was a presence in your living room, listening, learning, evolving. Privacy experts raised concerns about how much data these devices collected and where it went. Amazon assured users that their recordings were processed securely and used to improve performance. Still, the symbolism was hard to ignore. The same company that once asked what you wanted to buy was now hearing the sounds of your daily life. Alexa blurred the line between technology and intimacy. Convenience had become surveillance, willingly invited through the front door. The marketplace. By 2020, more than half of all items sold on Amazon came from third-party sellers. This marketplace model seemed to democratize opportunity. Small businesses could reach global audiences without warehouses or marketing budgets. Yet for many sellers, the partnership felt one-sided. Amazon controlled the platform, the search results, and crucially, the data. The company could see which products sold best, at what times, and in which regions. Armed with that knowledge, Amazon could launch its own competing brands, often at lower prices, using the very information independent sellers had generated. Public investigations in the United States and Europe later examined how Amazon used this marketplace data. The company denied unfair practices, insisting that its private label decisions were based on aggregated trends. But critics argued that Amazon had turned its sellers into unwitting suppliers for its own growth, a modern echo of the age-old imbalance between empire and colony. For consumers, it didn't matter. Prices were low, shipping was fast, and trust in the brand was absolute. For Amazon, that was the point. Control the supply, control the sellers, control the experience, and you control the market. The machine learns to think in recent years. Amazon's data ambitions have merged with artificial intelligence and automation. Machine learning systems now guide everything from warehouse logistics to product recommendations. In fulfillment centers, robots glide between aisles carrying shelves of products to human workers. Cameras and sensors track movements, ensuring maximum efficiency. The result is a kind of symbiosis between human and machine, a living algorithm optimizing itself in real time. The more data these systems consume, the better they become. And the better they become, the more data they generate. It's a cycle without end, a feedback loop that grows stronger the more we interact with it. Bezos often described Amazon as a machine for learning. What he meant was not just artificial intelligence, but institutional intelligence, a company that remembers everything and forgets. Nothing. The trust paradox: consumers trust Amazon because it feels dependable. Packages arrive on time, customer service responds instantly, and refunds are effortless. Yet that trust is also what makes the system powerful. Each purchase reinforces the belief that Amazon is indispensable. Each login deepens the company's knowledge of your preferences, routines, and habits. It's a trade we hardly notice, convenience in exchange for insight. But insight, at scale, becomes influence. When enough people rely on a single platform for shopping, entertainment, and even cloud storage, that platform gains something few corporations ever achieve: systemic power. Amazon doesn't just react to markets, it defines them. It can alter prices across industries, dictate shipping standards, and reshape consumer expectations overnight. The public sees a store. Economists see an ecosystem. Data scientists see a living organism, one that learns, adapts, and expands. A mirror of modern life. In many ways, Amazon's rise mirrors the age we live in. Ours is a world of immediacy and information, where waiting feels unnatural and privacy feels negotiable. Amazon didn't invent this culture, it perfected it. Each technological leap, from one-click ordering to same-day delivery, tightened the bond between people and the platform. The more we depended on it, the less we questioned it. And so the digital dominion grew. Quietly, efficiently, invisibly. A network of servers and sensors, algorithms and archives stretching across continents and into living rooms. From the beginning, Amazon's promise was simple: to make life easier. But in the process, it built a structure of unprecedented complexity, a data empire that feeds on our attention, our habits, and our trust. What started as a bookstore had become the world's most powerful information system, not through coercion but through convenience, not by demanding control, but by earning it, one click, one package, one command at a time. And somewhere within that seamless experience lies the central question of this new age. If knowledge is power and Amazon knows everything, who truly holds control? Chapter 3. The Human Cost. Inside the machine, the vast plains outside major cities, enormous grey buildings rise from the earth, windowless fortresses of efficiency. They look identical from a distance, clean, geometric, and strangely silent. But inside, thousands of people move in perfect synchronization with machines, guided not by supervisors, but by algorithms. This is the hidden heart of Amazon, its fulfillment centers. They are the beating core of a global system that promises speed, precision, and perfection. Every package, every scan, every motion is part of a symphony conducted by data. To customers, it's magic. To those inside, it's something else entirely. The rhythm of the machine. Inside an Amazon fulfillment center, the air hums with mechanical energy. Conveyor belts stretch like veins across concrete floors. Scanners flash in rhythmic bursts. Robots glide silently, carrying tall shelves stacked with goods toward human pickers who grab, scan, and send them onward. Everything is measured, every movement timed. The system knows how long it should take to locate, lift, and scan an item, down to the second. If someone slows down, the system knows that too. Employees describe the sensation as working with the machine, yet always for it. Algorithms set the pace, and human bodies must keep up. Amazon says this precision is what makes its legendary two-day and even same-day delivery possible. But for many workers, the relentless tempo feels less like innovation and more like endurance. In 2021, a report from the US Department of Labor noted that Amazon's warehouses had higher injury rates than the industry average. The company has disputed these findings, saying it invests heavily in safety and ergonomics. Yet the tension remains between the promise of efficiency and the limits of the human body. Scanning humanity. Every worker at an Amazon fulfillment center carries a handheld scanner. It's their tool, their guide, and their monitor. The scanner tells them what to do next, where to go, what to pick, how fast to move. It tracks their rate, a performance score calculated in real time. The system doesn't shout or scold. It simply records. And in that quiet recording lies the essence of Amazon's labor model: measurable productivity. If a worker's rate drops below expectation, the software flags it. Supervisors may receive automatic alerts. Some employees describe a feeling of constant awareness, not of being watched by a person, but by an invisible intelligence that never blinks. For management, this data-driven structure eliminates bias and increases fairness. Everyone is measured by the same metrics. For workers, it can feel dehumanizing, a transformation from employee to data point. One former warehouse associate described it simply: you stop thinking about the customer or the product. You start thinking in numbers, how many items per hour, how many seconds per pick. The paradox of perfection. Amazon's goal is speed, frictionless, flawless speed. Every delay, every inefficiency, every misstep is a cost. Yet the more the company optimizes, the more fragile the system becomes. The warehouses are marvels of logistics, but they depend on a workforce that never truly slows down. Holidays bring peak season, weeks of intense activity as demand surges. Workers take on 10 or 12-hour shifts. Some describe it as exhilarating, others exhausting. Amazon argues that these jobs offer opportunities, competitive pay, benefits, and upward mobility. Many employees agree. For some, Amazon is a stepping stone or a lifeline. But critics point out that the model relies on turnover. New hires replace those who burn out. The machine keeps running. Inside the system, exhaustion and achievement are indistinguishable. Both look like progress on a dashboard. Automation's shadow. In the early 2010s, Amazon acquired a robotics company called Kiva Systems. It was a quiet transaction at first, $775 million for a startup that made small orange robots. Within a few years, those robots had transformed the warehouse floor. Kiva robots glide beneath towering shelves, lifting and carrying them to human pickers. The change was revolutionary. Instead of workers walking miles each day to find products, the products now came to them. Efficiency soared, but the robots didn't eliminate the human burden. They redefined it. Tasks became faster, repetitive, more precise. The mental and physical demands shifted. Workers had to adapt to a system that never stopped, never tired, never slowed. Today, Amazon operates hundreds of thousands of these robots, with new AI-driven systems emerging each year. In 2023, it introduced Sparrow, a robotic arm capable of recognizing and picking individual items, a step closer to full automation. For some, it's a glimpse of the future, machines handling the menial, freeing humans for creative work. For others, it's a warning, a future where human labor becomes temporary, replaceable, and ultimately unnecessary. The fight to organize. In 2021, a small warehouse in Bessemer, Alabama, became the center of global attention. Workers there attempted to form the first Amazon union in the United States. The campaign exposed a deep divide. Supporters said it was about dignity and voice, a way to balance human needs with algorithmic demands. Amazon argued it already provided competitive pay and benefits, and that a union would add bureaucracy without improving workers' lives. The vote failed, but the movement didn't disappear. Other facilities followed, and in 2022, workers at a Staten Island warehouse successfully voted to unionize, a first in Amazon's history. The company challenged the result, maintaining that most employees prefer a direct relationship with management. Still, the moment marked a turning point, proof that even within the most data-driven system, human resistance could emerge. In the public eye, it became a symbol of labor meeting technology, of people confronting a machine built on metrics. The warehouse and the world Amazon's fulfillment network now spans continents, from North America to Europe, from India to South America. Each new facility represents not just growth, but reach. In developing regions, Amazon offers new economic opportunities. In wealthier markets, it sets the standard for logistics and consumer expectations. Everywhere it goes, it reshapes the nature of work. Governments praise the jobs, cities compete for new warehouses, and consumers enjoy faster delivery. Yet the trade-off is invisible, an economy increasingly defined by tempo rather than stability, data rather than dialogue. Amazon didn't invent the future of labor. It merely built it faster than anyone else. The face of the machine. To understand the human cost of Amazon's empire, you have to listen to the people who keep it running. Some speak of pride, of being part of something vast and efficient, of watching a single package move from their hands to a doorstep across the world. Others describe fatigue, repetition, and a strange sense of invisibility. They are the unseen hands of modern convenience. When we click Buy Now, they are the ones who make it real. Each label scanned, each package taped, each mile driven adds another layer to the empire. And while technology has blurred the line between human and machine, one truth remains: the world's speed still depends on human endurance. The mirror of progress, Amazon, often says it operates by customer obsession. And it's true. Few companies have done more to simplify the customer's experience. But behind that simplicity lies complexity, a network of people, machines, and algorithms balancing on the edge of perfection. Efficiency has a cost, not in dollars, but in attention, in autonomy, in time. The warehouses stand as monuments to our collective desire for instant gratification. They are temples of modern capitalism, built on the promise that everything can be faster, cheaper, and easier, if only we're willing to look away from what makes it possible. When Jeff Bezos once said, "Your margin is my opportunity," he was describing more than business strategy. He was describing an ideology, really one where every inefficiency, every human pause becomes a problem to solve. Conclusion: the price of perfection as the sun sets over the endless grey roofs of fulfillment centers. Trucks roll out towards cities that never sleep. Inside those trucks are the objects of human desire. Phones, toys, clothes, tools, the tokens of a life made simple by speed. But for the people behind those packages, the story is more complicated. Their work fuels the convenience the world now depends on. Their labor sustains the illusion that progress is effortless. The cost of perfection is rarely visible. It's counted not in profits or deliveries, but in hours, heartbeats, and lives measured by algorithms. Amazon didn't set out to erase humanity from commerce, set out to perfect it. But in chasing that perfection, it revealed something profound about our age, that even in the era of automation, human beings remain both the engine and the expense of progress. And somewhere inside those humming walls, beneath the cold light of fluorescent bulbs, one question still echoes: how much efficiency is worth a human breath? Chapter 4: The Expansion. Power. Beyond retail at first, Amazon was just a store. Then it became a marketplace. But somewhere along the way, it became something much larger. A system of systems, each connected by one invisible thread: data. By the late 2010s, Amazon had already conquered e-commerce. But for Jeff Bezos, victory was never the destination. It was just another starting line. The company's next ambition was not to sell things, but to shape infrastructure itself and to become the backbone of how modern life functions. The empire diversifies. Amazon's reach began to stretch in all directions at once. While the public still thought of it as a shopping site, the company was quietly embedding itself in industries far beyond retail. In cloud computing, Amazon Web Services had become indispensable, powering startups, governments, and Fortune 500 companies alike. In logistics, Amazon built its own delivery network, challenging the dominance of FedEx and UPS. In entertainment, Amazon Studios began producing award-winning films and series, including The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel and Manchester by the Sea. In smart homes, Alexa was becoming a digital gatekeeper, and in space, Bezos was founding Blue Origin, a parallel quest to extend humanity beyond Earth's atmosphere. Each of these expansions looked separate from the outside, but behind them lay the same logic: control the platform, control the flow, control the future. AWS, owning the cloud. The story of Amazon Web Services, AWS, is one of quiet domination. When it launched in 2006, few noticed. It offered developers a simple promise: cheap, scalable access to servers and data storage. But that promise reshaped the internet. Suddenly, startups could launch global applications without building their own infrastructure. Big corporations could rent computing power instead of buying it. By 2020, AWS was generating tens of billions in revenue, making it one of Amazon's most profitable divisions. Netflix, Disney+, Airbnb, and even parts of the CIA relied on AWS servers to run their digital worlds. In a sense, Amazon didn't just sell through the internet, it became the internet. Behind every video stream, transaction, or message, there was often an Amazon data center humming quietly in the background. AWS wasn't flashy. It didn't advertise to consumers or flood social media with campaigns. It simply became indispensable. Its real power was invisibility. The digital age depended on it, and dependence is the purest form of control. The logistics revolution. For years, Amazon relied on carriers like UPS, FedEx, and the US Postal Service to deliver its packages. But as demand grew, so did friction. Late deliveries bottlenecks costs, so Amazon made a decision that would change everything. It would build its own delivery empire. The company began purchasing cargo planes, leasing trucks, and investing in a fleet of vans. It built Amazon Air, a cargo network with its own airports and distribution hubs. Delivery stations multiplied, and soon the familiar blue Prime vans became as common on suburban streets as postal trucks. By 2022, Amazon was shipping more parcels annually in the US than FedEx, a milestone that signaled its full transformation from retailer to logistics powerhouse. Each package wasn't just a product delivered, it was data collected. Every address, every route, every delay became part of Amazon's growing logistics intelligence. With every step, Amazon moved closer to total autonomy, a company that could sell, store, ship, and even deliver without relying on anyone else. Prime, the loyalty machine. No empire thrives without loyalty. Amazon's version of that loyalty is Prime. Launched in 2005, it began as a simple membership offering 2-day shipping. But it evolved into a complete ecosystem, one that fused shopping, streaming, gaming, and reading under a single subscription. By 2021, Prime had more than 200 million members worldwide. Each one represented not just a customer, but a data stream, a living profile of preferences, habits, and consumption patterns. Prime wasn't just a business model, it was a psychological contract. Once people joined, they rarely left. The sunk cost of membership made Amazon the default choice for everything, from toothpaste to televisions. In behavioral economics, this phenomenon is known as platform lock-in. For Amazon, it meant something even deeper: emotional integration. Prime transformed shopping from an action into a reflex. The screen and the stream Amazon's expansion into entertainment began almost quietly, with a simple idea: content drives consumption. Through Amazon Studios and Prime Video, the company entered Hollywood's inner circle. It produced films that won Oscars and television shows that reshaped streaming culture. But for Amazon, movies weren't just art, they were architecture. Every click on a Prime Video title linked back to a shopping account. Every search reinforced the Amazon ecosystem. Even viewing habits became another layer of data. What people watched, when they paused, how they reacted. Amazon wasn't just competing with Netflix. It was weaving entertainment into commerce, creating a seamless loop between what people saw and what they bought. The purchase of MGM Studios in 2022, home to the James Bond franchise, symbolized this ambition. It wasn't only about owning content, it was about owning cultural capital, echoes of everyday life. Meanwhile, in millions of homes around the world, Alexa continued to evolve. Each new device, smart speakers, thermostats, cameras, even microwaves, brought Amazon deeper into the rhythms of daily existence. You could ask Alexa to order groceries, control the lights, or play your favorite music, but every command, every question, every tone of voice added to the company's understanding of human behavior. Amazon said these interactions were used to improve user experience and refine its AI systems. Yet the deeper truth is that Alexa made Amazon omnipresent, a companion, assistant, and observer all at once. The company that once waited for clicks now existed in real time, inside homes, listening and responding. Health, the next frontier. If data is the new oil, then health data is the purest form. In 2018, Amazon made its move into healthcare. It acquired PillPack, an online pharmacy that delivered prescriptions directly to consumers. A few years later, it launched Amazon Care, a telemedicine service for employees and select partners. Then, in 2022, it announced the acquisition of One Medical, a membership-based healthcare provider focused on technology-driven patient experiences. The message was clear. Amazon wanted to integrate health into its ecosystem, the most personal data domain of all. To some, this represented innovation, accessible healthcare powered by convenience. To others, it raised profound questions. What happens when the company that sells you groceries, movies, and cloud storage also manages your medical information? For the first time, Amazon's empire was touching not just what people buy or watch, but their biological lives. Space. The final ambition beyond Earth. Another Amazon-related story was unfolding. Blue Origin, Jeff Bezos' aerospace company, founded in 2000, its motto was Gradatim ferociter, step by step, ferociously. Blue Origin's goal wasn't competition with NASA or SpaceX, it was continuity. Bezos often said that building infrastructure in space was the next logical step for civilization. To him, Earth was humanity's home base, but industry, in the long run, would belong beyond the atmosphere. He once told an interviewer, "We need to move heavy industry off Earth to protect this planet." It was an extraordinary statement, equal parts vision and inevitability. In that sense, Blue Origin reflected the same philosophy as Amazon: long-term thinking, infrastructure building, control through systems. While Amazon dominated digital and physical commerce, Blue Origin symbolized its final frontier: commerce among the stars. The web of dependence by the 2020s, Amazon's influence had become almost invisible, embedded in daily life like oxygen. You could wake up to an Alexa alarm, order breakfast through Amazon Fresh, stream a movie on Prime Video, back up photos to AWS, and receive a package that afternoon, all through the same ecosystem. Each step generated data that fed back into Amazon's intelligence network. It wasn't a conspiracy, it was design. The brilliance of Amazon's expansion lay in how natural it felt. No coercion, no propaganda, just convenience. Each new product, each acquisition, each service was another thread in the same web. And as that web grew, so did the question: how much of modern life now ran through one company's code? The global shadow in developing countries, Amazon's presence brought both opportunity and challenge. Small businesses gained access to global markets, but local retailers struggled to compete. Governments welcomed investment but worried about influence. Regulators in Europe and the US began to investigate how Amazon used data, pricing, and competition. Some called for antitrust reform. Others argued that Amazon's efficiency had simply outpaced the law. The debate wasn't about good or evil, it was about scale. When one company operates across commerce, cloud, media, logistics, and health, the question isn't whether it breaks rules, it's whether the rules are enough. The new normal by 2025, Amazon's transformation was complete. It was no longer just a business, it was infrastructure, digital, logistical, cultural, and psychological to live in the modern world meant to exist at least partly. Within Amazon's domain, it had become what economists call a utility platform, not a retailer, but a foundation of daily life. Like electricity, it was invisible until it failed. Like gravity, it was everywhere, pulling everything toward it. For Bezos, it was the logical outcome of a philosophy he'd embraced from the beginning: long-term thinking over short-term profit. For everyone else, it was the new normal, a world where efficiency, intelligence, and ubiquity had merged into one. Conclusion: beyond the horizon, in the end, Amazon's story is not just about business. It's about the architecture of the modern age, how convenience reshaped capitalism, how infrastructure became ideology. The company began with books, but it ended with everything: data, logistics, entertainment, healthcare, and even space did not simply grow, it evolved. It became a mirror of human desire, reflecting back our need for speed, comfort, and control. And as the horizon expands, the question deepens. If Amazon now touches every aspect of life on Earth, what comes next when Earth is no longer enough? Chapter 5. The Legacy of Control. The Future. Amazon is building. In the beginning, Amazon promised to make life easier. In the end, it made life dependent. But the story doesn't end in the warehouses or in the cloud, or even in the voice of Alexa, because while the world marveled at Amazon's present, the company had already moved on to building the future. And that future, if it unfolds as designed, won't just be shaped by Amazon, it will belong to it. The empire beyond the click Amazon began with books. It evolved into logistics, data, and AI. But its true legacy is not what it sells, it's what it builds. Today, Amazon is no longer a company that merely responds to demand. It's a company that predicts, prepares, and ultimately programs demand. With every product line, every infrastructure expansion, every acquisition, Amazon is not reacting to the world. It is designing a version of it, from cloud computing to healthcare, from space technology to smart homes. The empire has gone post-commercial. It now moves in the shadows of governments, in the frameworks of urban planning, in the DNA of next-generation computing, and the final phase? Not domination, integration, but smart cities, smarter surveillance. In several pilot cities, Amazon has already begun weaving its services into local infrastructure. Not just in package delivery, but in urban systems. Through Ring cameras, smart doorbells, and public-private partnerships with police departments, Amazon is extending its surveillance capabilities. What began as home security is now a vast, decentralized network of eyes and ears, owned not by a state, but by a corporation. Critics call it surveillance capitalism. Amazon calls it safety. In neighborhoods across America, thousands of homes now double as data collection hubs, quietly feeding location, behavioral and facial recognition data into machine learning systems. In some cases, law enforcement can request footage without a warrant. Amazon says it cooperates only under strict legal standards. But the precedent is set. Security is now a service. And the service has a price: privacy. The AI supply chain. Most people see Amazon as a logistics company. But inside the company's most guarded labs, a different kind of product is being built. Decision-making intelligence. Amazon is investing heavily in artificial general intelligence, AI systems not just for recommendations, but for autonomous thinking. The goal is not just to optimize warehouses or chatbots. The goal is to create the nervous system of a predictive economy. Imagine a future where the AI determines inventory needs before retailers know them, adjust pricing across entire sectors in real time, recommends medical treatments based on global data, patterns, manages energy usage in smart cities, analyzes speech, emotion, and tone to optimize user experience. This is not the future of shopping, it's the future of control. A future where Amazon's algorithms don't just sell to people. They shape the decisions of systems that govern entire societies. And once those systems rely on Amazon's platforms, control shifts, quietly, permanently. Healthcare. The final integration. When Amazon entered the healthcare industry, many saw it as just another business move. But for the company that sees data as destiny, health was always the final frontier. From Amazon Pharmacy to One Medical, Amazon is positioning itself as the gateway to human well-being, from prescriptions to preventive care, from telehealth to wearable biometric devices. But here's the deeper play. Health data is the most sensitive, most valuable and most predictive form of personal information. If Amazon can map not just what people buy, but how their hearts beat, how they sleep, what they eat, and when they die, well, it doesn't just know the market, it knows mortality. Insurance companies, hospitals, governments, they will need that data to operate more efficiently. And Amazon will be there to provide it for a price. Or maybe not for a price, maybe for access. The trade will be simple: better care, faster service, cheaper drugs, in exchange for total transparency of your biological life. The automation dilemma as Amazon perfects automation, its vision of the future work environment becomes clearer and colder. In warehouses, AI monitors employee movement. In logistics, driverless vans are being tested. In offices, generative AI systems are writing copy, managing meetings, even coding new software, and slowly, a new kind of labor market is emerging. One where humans are the bottlenecks, not the drivers. Amazon says automation frees workers to focus on higher-level tasks, but every wave of automation brings layoffs, de-skilling, and the shrinking value of human labor. At what point does freeing up workers become phasing them out? And when a company that controls retail, logistics, AI, and cloud computing no longer needs most workers, what happens to society's foundation? Bezos's long game. Colonizing time. Itself, Jeff Bezos has often been quoted saying, "Focus on the long term." His true obsession is longevity, not just of products or profits, but of civilization. Through Blue Origin and his investments in anti-aging technologies, Bezos is pushing beyond quarterly earnings and into millennial thinking. He is funding the 10,000-year clock, a mechanical timepiece buried deep inside a mountain, designed to tick once a year for 10 millennia. Why? Because Amazon was never just about fast delivery. It was about timeless relevance. The ultimate power isn't in what people do today, but in shaping what they will still be doing 1,000 years from now. To Bezos, that's not fantasy. It's infrastructure, the moral vacuum for all its technological brilliance. Amazon operates in a moral vacuum. Efficiency is its religion, convenience is its language, data is its currency, and growth is its law. But who writes the ethics of the machine? In a world where Amazon predicts your actions, guides your purchases, delivers your medicine, hosts your data, and hears your voice, where does autonomy begin? The answer is uncomfortable. It may not. Because Amazon's legacy isn't just about what it controls, it's about what we gave up, willingly, gladly untied in the name of simplicity. The invisible constitution. Every society is governed by laws. But in the 21st century, some of the most powerful laws aren't written by governments. They're written in code. Amazon's platforms are shaping more than commerce. They are writing a new social contract, including one that bypasses parliaments, presidents, and people. Want faster delivery? Accept surveillance, want personalized service. Give up privacy, want convenience? Surrender choice. These are not explicit demands. They are implicit conditions of the digital age, and Amazon, more than any other company, has perfected this quiet form of governance, a corporate constitution, written in algorithms enforced by architecture and accepted through habit. The final question: the world now turns with Amazon. Its servers carry our messages. Its warehouses move our goods. Its algorithms decide what we want. Its AI listens, watches, and learns. And still, most people think of Amazon as a place to shop, but history will remember it differently, as a force of design, as a system of control, as a blueprint for the future. Not because it set out to rule the world, but because we asked it to, one click at a time. Epilogue: the legacy of control. Legacy of Amazon won't be measured in profits or market caps. It will be measured in the architecture of modern life, in how we live, what we expect, what we accept. Its real success was never dominating an industry. Its real success was redefining normal. And now that the system is built and the infrastructure is global, only one question remains. If Amazon built the world we live in today, who will build the one we live in tomorrow?